Hello everyone, welcome to today. It has been so long since I have made any sort of like sit down and chat with you video. But, well, today the power's out and I found some of my old videos on my video editing software and I was watching them and I was like, I want to do that again. I want to tell you what's going on and update you on my life, and it's like as much for you as it is for me, because it holds memories for me and it brings me back to how things were at a certain time in my life, and yeah. So for lots of reasons, I thought I'd make a video today. So I actually don't know when was the last time I gave you like a sit down update of my life. I think it's been years. And some of the reason for that is because I've been in graduate school for the last couple of years, like 2.5 years now. And that has taken up a large part of my brain and my time and my life, which is okay. Like, you got to give that to grad school when you're really making a go for it. And I really really wanted to make a good go of this time around with graduate school. I'm doing a totally different thing than I did when I was younger. Like, I tried creative writing twice in 2 different grad schools and it didn't work out. And at the last one, when it didn't work out, I remember thinking to myself that if I ever do go back to school, I want it to be for a specific career that will lead to a specific job, that will lead to more financial and other, like, every kind of stability in my life. I wanted more stability. So I chose to go into counseling. I'm doing a rehabilitation counseling program, which means I'm specializing in counseling disabled people. But my goal is to become a mental health counselor and work with people with mental illness. So that's what I've been working on. And I'm currently doing an internship where I get to actually be a real counselor and see clients and counsel them. And it was really scary at first because I was like, I've spent the last however many, like over a decade, being a mental health counseling client and needing a lot of help and being really just struggling so much for so long. And to finally be in a place where I can give that stability to someone else. Like, I can sit in the room with them and I can offer them tools and skills and listening and just being there for them. And so it's like kind of incredible to me that that my life changed so much and that my health changed so much that I was able to do that. So that's another part of the update, is that my health has changed a lot. Like, in most of the ways, I'm so much better than I used to be. I don't have seizures anymore. I don't fall over anymore. I don't pass out anymore. I just am like good to go. I was able to do enough physical therapy that I don't need a wheelchair anymore. This was like a couple years ago now that I did physical therapy, and I transitioned from like a wheelchair to a walker to a cane, and now I walk unassisted most of the time. I can walk up and down stairs, which is amazing. These are things I honestly never thought I would get to do again. I can even go for short hikes, like for like half an hour or 45 minutes, I can go hiking, which is also amazing. I really never thought I would go hiking again. Yeah, a lot has changed with health. On the downside, I developed type 2 diabetes. So that's been a new and awful thing to try and deal with. And I also I've had eating disorder trouble for a long time, but it got really bad about a year ago. And I had to do eating disorder treatment. I have ARFID, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. Yeah. And so when it was really bad, I would be like not eating all day, and then at night I would binge because I would be starving. And so It was just this really bad cycle that I was in. But I was able to get out of that cycle with a lot of help, and it still is like a struggle to eat the right things and to eat like whenever normal people, whatever, like you're supposed to eat, whatever. But it's better enough that I can deal with it. And I'm still working on it all the time. It's just, it's not, healing an eating disorder is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And it can take years. And the point is to just keep trying and don't give up. Even if you have a bad week or a bad day or whatever, just keep going. You can always do it differently the next day. So yeah, I've learned a lot of that process about, one, just having a lot more compassion and empathy for people who have all kinds of eating disorders, and realizing what a struggle that is and how hard it is to get the right kind of help, and then how hard it is to maintain like healthy eating even when you're dealing with all of these other voices in your head, basically like contradicting the need to eat healthy. So yeah, but it just continues to be a journey that I'll probably be on for a long time, and I've kind of accepted that. I've also been sober from marijuana for a year now. That also has been a really long process. It took a couple years to get to that point. I knew many years ago that it was a problem and that I needed to do something about it, but I couldn't figure out what to do about it or how to help myself. And then right before I started grad school, like the summer before, I remember talking to my counselor and being like, I'm just so bored with the constant need to have marijuana every single day. I'm over it. I don't, like, I was just like so done with it, but still felt like I couldn't stop doing it. But he was able to be like, well, do you want to stop? And I was like, I guess so. And so we made a plan together. And at that time I was like, okay, I'll just follow the plan. I'll be able to stop by the end of the summer and it'll be no problem. I'll start grad school sober and it'll be great. Turns out dealing with addiction, it's like dealing with an eating disorder. It's a marathon. And so we went through like a couple of years of being sober sometimes, and then falling back to marijuana, and then being sober, and then falling back on it, and like constantly making effort to figure it out and to learn what to do differently and to take care of ourselves. And it ended up being like a lot of trauma work and a lot of working with our DID system, where there was always like internal conflict about who wanted to use and who didn't want to use, and how do we come to an agreement or a compromise. And sometimes the people who didn't want to use would win, and sometimes the people who wanted to use would win, and it was just like it was hard. But then we had top surgery last December of 2023, and we had to stop smoking in order to do that. And so that really changed like the way we approached marijuana, because instead of just smoking it all the time, we were taking like specific doses of edibles in order to deal with like cravings and withdrawal and stuff. And so we were able to really like cut down on our use and use a lot less and use it a lot more controlled. And then we went to eating disorder treatment and had to do a lot of like skills building workshops. And so somehow working on eating disorder also gave us the skills and the power to just stop using marijuana. And we haven't used it ever since then. And that also is like this incredible thing we honestly never thought we would be able to do. used for like 10 years plus and thought that it was just something we were stuck with and something that we couldn't live without, or that we couldn't figure out how to live differently. But we do live differently now. We did it. And like, it still is the addiction stuff, like it's still a part of us. Like there are still times when we crave it and wish we could use it, but we think about like all the ways that it would harm our life now. And all the ways it would just mess things up and get in the way and like put us in a direction we don't want to go in. And so we're able to really focus on that instead now. So we don't use marijuana anymore. For a year, a whole year, nothing. Just sitting with all these things that we've been through and accomplished and healed. It's incredible to us how much has changed in just a few years. We're in a place in life we never thought we'd be in. Because like, we honestly, when we were in the worst parts of Lyme disease and mental illness and addiction, we just thought we were gonna die. We thought, there's no help for us. We can't figure out a way through this. We're just gonna die. And that's gonna be the end of us. But then we didn't die, I think. But then we didn't die. We lived, and we keep living, and things keep getting in our personal life better and better, and that makes us like feel so stable and happy and satisfied with our life and fulfilled. It's like all these cool things. And we have a partner like this. Our partner that we were with in California, we got back together. We were only broken up for like a few months, many years ago. And then we got back together, and we've been together ever since. So in total, we've been together like, I think 7.5 years, which is amazing. It's a wonderful relationship. We love them. We love them so much. And we know they love us, and we see each other whenever we can, and it's wonderful. And we moved to a smaller town, and that was just a recent thing we did, and it's so cool to get to live somewhere that's more rural, where we just like, there's a pond near where we live, and it's warmed up a little bit here, and so when we walk by the pond at night, the frogs are so loud, but we love the frogs, so it's great. And sometimes we see bald eagles flying like above where we live, and it's just like another thing where we didn't think we would get to move somewhere that felt quiet and rural and small. Like, we've lived in a lot of big cities, and we don't actually like living in the city. So it's great to not live in the city anymore. The last video we posted was last summer after our dog Maybelle died. She was our dog for just a year. We'd had her for a year. And she was a great dog. She was like so silly and made so many little noises, and was such like a potato. And she was so adventurous too, and like just wanted to like go and do things with us, and so we loved her. We had taken her in for a dental visit with the vet, and she died under anesthesia because her heart just stopped beating and they couldn't get it to restart. And then they found that she had a tumor on her spleen, a tumor on her heart, and that her heart was enlarged. So she was a lot more sick than she let on. Like, I didn't realize there were any health problems. Nobody did, like the vet didn't notice either. So if we hadn't had dental stuff done, she probably was headed towards being pretty sick. So I think back on that and I'm like, it might have been like the best way for things to happen, that she didn't ever have to suffer. She just got to slip away. And it was like horribly sad. And that's why we just made a video about her, to kind of like remember her and celebrate her and grieve about her. And then in the summer, last summer, we had to have surgery to remove, it's called a pilonidal cyst. It's like a cyst that grows in your butt crack. And we'd had this cyst for like 10 years and had been trying, like we'd managed it for 10 years, but then it just got really infected last summer and unmanageable and so painful. It's one of the most painful things, physically painful things we've been through in a long time. And there was just like no way to get relief from it. Like it was awful. So we had to have surgery to have that removed, and then recovery from that took months because it was such a big wound, and you have to let it heal from the inside out. And so you can't sew it up and let it heal that way. You have to, we had to go to wound care a few times a week and let them do whatever they did to it. It was like something that we were like, I cannot manage this alone. I cannot like heal this wound on my own. I need somebody who knows about wounds to do this. So wound care took care of that, and they were lovely. And now we've had like a bazillion people look at our butt, and we have no more shame about our people seeing our butt. It's just like, yep, there it is. Everybody sees it. Yeah. And then in the fall of last year, we adopted a new dog. His name is Pinto. Pinto. He's right here. This is Pinto. He's about 5.5. And we adopted him from a shelter, and you can go back to chewing on your thing now. He's a really fun dog. He's really bouncy and very agile. And you don't need to bark. He does unfortunately like to bark more than we enjoy. So we have some disagreements about how much he barks. And he does not do well with meeting other dogs outside. He loves Pike. They get along great. No problems there. But other dogs that he doesn't know, he will bark at and lunge towards and be kind of aggressive. So haven't figured out what to do about that. But he's little enough that I'll just like pick him up when I see a dog. If we can't go a different route, I'll pick him up when we have to pass another dog, just to avoid conflict and the barking. But yeah, we love him. He's great. He's wonderful. He's the first boy dog we've had, and that took a little getting used to because boys have different parts. And he had just been neutered when we adopted him, and so we had to do a little bit of extra care in his groin area to help him heal from that. And that we were like, okay, we have a boy dog. We have to deal with the fact that he has a penis. It's gonna be okay. It's just a penis. But it took some getting used to. Yeah, I think that covers everything that is like the broad strokes of things that have happened and gone on. We just turned 36 years old a couple days ago, and Pike turned 12 yesterday. And I think that's kind of what prompted wanting to make a video, is being like, we never thought we were going to see 36. Like, we never thought we'd get to be this age and get to enjoy being an adult in this way. And it's just like astounding to have like made it so long. And to feel like we have so much more life ahead of us that we get to enjoy and that we get to live. we're a little freaked out by what's going on in our country. A lot freaked out, but we're trying to choose to hang on to hope and leaning into like our own stability and our own love for people and animals and our life. Like, it's, if we give in to the despair of everything that's happening right now, then we get paralyzed and we can't do things, or we freak out, or we have so much anxiety. And so it's like, that's not helpful. That's letting them win, letting them defeat us, and they don't get to do that. So don't know what's coming in the future, but we are happy to be alive. We have lots of plans for our life that we're working on. With any luck, we will graduate in June and get to start a whole new chapter of life, of finding a job and building a career and doing this work that feels really important right now. Like, we feel really privileged that we get to support people working on themselves and trying to make a change and trying to find a better way to live, or trying to just survive the life that they're in. Yeah, it feels really important that we get to do that. So we're going to end it there. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, as you know you can do on YouTube. Believe yourselves, believe in yourselves, keep living. And we'll see you soon. Bye.